It's the Spark of Madness. I'm back,
Hey,
guys.
welcome
Yay.
back. Thank God you're back.
Just barely. Before we get started, I would like to just take a moment to offer just a little note from your Care Bears
That was
episode.
not the note.
It's more like an A flat.
Go on, man.
I took offense to your...
You're a little pitchy.
You took offense.
Took offense to you guys commenting, put a wall up in Wonderland. Not very fair to Refugee Bear.
It's purely for economic reasons, we assure you.
Bear.
Yeah.
He's drinking out of a toilet.
They just went.
He lives
and,
on a thundercloud.
Yeah, what
looked
was it?
at his cages.
That's
or
how the
whatever.
elephant and the rabbit got in. the Care Bears.
I did. I am glad I mercifully got to avoid watching that, especially by the end. I thought for a second there was going to be like
You can still watch it. It's free on YouTube.
Yeah, you should. It's worth a watch.
I think I'm good.
I would do it.
In
fact, I think you should.
How long is it?
You
How
strike
many
me as a
minutes?
masochist.
It's an hour and 10 minutes.
Hour and 10.
Which is funny because the movie we watched this time is another animated movie for kids, and it's even longer, and it didn't feel as long.
And it came out at the same time, and the animation is like
Infinitely
unbelievable.
superior.
Yeah. And I was giving props to the Care Bears. There were some good animation things, ideas. They just didn't have Don Bluth running the whole show.
Oh, Don
No.
Bluth. Our guy.
So let's get into it. So this week we chose a totally random movie. But this was one Aaron's been pitching for a little while. Actually, we didn't choose this. It was one of two.
It was a vote.
It's between,
You chose poorly.
It was between Secret of NIMH and American Tail.
Right.
And
Which I watched both of
good
them.
choices.
I watched
Yeah.
American Tail. You can watch on Netflix. I tell you what. Before we get into Secret
Sure.
of NIMH, Don Bluth, a master of motion pictures.
This is our second Don Bluth we've done on,
Oh, really?
on here.
What was the first one?
Land Before Time.
That's right.
We did in the
We've done
Dinosaur Showdown.
130
He knows
shows.
how to. Is it courage is from the heart?
Yeah.
What's he say? What's the word?
That sounded right to me.
No, it has to. Courage and something rhymes with there.
Courage of the heart is very rare.
There you go.
Something.
The stone shows red when it's there.
Courage of the heart is very rare. The stone turns red when it's there.
Hey, we're gonna move your house with some ropes and pulleys, all right?
Yeah.
Try not to let your kids not batten down the hatches. You know what I mean?
It's Rizzo. Rizzo comes in. Hey, I'm a rat of Nim. You know,
Just normal, like puppet
I think
comes
we
in.
should kill Nicodemus. He's so lousy.
Then the crab comes in, or the shrimp. It's a shrimp.
Yeah. Okay.
The Swedish chef
You should kill him.
wanders in.
And the rat to screwy.
He's the farmer or whatever.
Anyway, so
I missed you guys. I missed you guys so much.
what I was driving at, the end of I actually emotionally broke down watching the end of the American Tale.
And
Oh,
that's
of
just what they
American
wanted you to
Yeah,
do.
but it's like but like the imagery, the breakdown is all juxtaposition of imagery and timing and like storytelling and visuals. Like this guy, Don Bluth, like the very end when he's like even the voice actor, the things that got out of the characters, it's a fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
It's and like he's finally given up. He doesn't want to watch to see his family, and he's just like Papa. He hears his voice. Like it's just so dramatic, and you have James Horner's score. We'll review this movie too someday. Yeah. But I just totally when it's the last bit, the payoff is just so, and the music and the swell. It's like
And everything
cinema.
you're talking about, I remember you could almost copy paste that feeling, at least for me, for Land Before Time when we talked about it. I remember just like, oh my god,
It's emotional.
just like
He goes to dark places.
darkness, and then and this movie's no different.
if
So,
I may pivot, I was nearly moved to tears just watching the artistry of this movie.
well, this
Which
is
I
his
think is
first.
superior than American Tail. actually.
This is Don Bluth's first movie. So
First
let's,
directorial.
Well,
Directorial.
Yeah, 'cause
Directorial,
he did work on Pete's Dragon. I think he worked.
he was the director of animation on that one.
and I think he worked on Sleeping Beauty. He started off as a young animator in Sleeping Beauty. He just got tired of the Xerox phase and like the cheapness.
He said
of
we
Disney,
need to get back to the golden era.
which Walt won, and by consequence, because now they had someone to compete with, animation style.
Yeah.
It pushed them to go back to the golden era.
That's why we
Right.
have stuff
Oh, yeah.
like The Lion King.
That's why we have Lion King, A Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
That was the the Renaissance of Little Mermaid,
Because
and all
they
that
were
stuff
forced to work harder.
because they had competition. And he
Yeah.
even says, "I'm glad,"
Yeah.
Competition is the
It
best
pushes
form.
everybody forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ben, for people who haven't seen this movie, let's give them a quick taste.
Oh, sure. Get that burp out.
Tastes like Coke Zero.
From the book of the Apostle Paul to the Wikipedians. Chapter 6, verses 112. The Secret of NIMH is a 1982 American animated dark fantasy adventure, film directed by Bluth. Don Bluth.
I thought you were gonna like start playing the rest of development.
In his directorial debut, it is an adaptation of Robert Louis Stevenson. It is, no, it's not.
It's just him.
All right, gotta focus.
Courage of the heart is very rare. The stone glows red when it's there.
I want to keep this on the whole time. It is an adaptation of Robert C. O'Brien's 1971 children's novel, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of NIMH. The film was produced by Aurora Productions and released by MGM UA, United Artists Entertainment, and features the voices of Elizabeth Hartman,
Dom DeLuise,
I'm the other way.
everybody knows, he's like in every one of these movies. Arthur Mallet, Derek Jacobi, Hermione Baddeley, John Carradine, Peter Strauss, and Paul Schenner. It was followed by the 1998 to direct the sequel called The Secret of NIMH 2, Timmy to the Rescue.
The Nimmining.
Which was made without Bluth's involvement or input, and that movie's completely shit.
Oh, well. Listen, I made no apologies.
Can you put
I went back to my garage,
I'm done.
did some animation.
Can you put the reverb back on real quick?
Timmy's story hadn't been told yet.
go to the rats in the rose bush. You must move your house to the lee of the stone.
He doesn't. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
You need a little more like gravelly.
Go to the rat.
You need some more Shere Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's voice was amazing.
Mrs. Jonathan Brisby.
Or we can do. I can do Nicodemus.
Which you've already done.
Let's do it again.
Courage of the heart is very rare. The stone has power when it's there.
It's gonna be.
Oh, there's the
different every
stone right in the picture. There we go.
time. All right,
That's our marketing.
let's review this movie, shall we?
Let's go ahead and get into it finally. All right, so would you guys
That was an 8-minute intro.
would you guys consider this movie like classic fantasy?
As far as
hero
animation,
journey?
it's Hall of Fame material.
Yes.
Well, okay. Where do you want to start? Let's start with animation.
Okay.
It's very dark, like and kind of creepy.
No, it's not.
What are you talking
Well, it's totally fine.
That cat was a bubbly cat.
That cat was
what?
creepy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We had a discussion on the when you were waiting for you. We thought, does Don Bluth hate cats? Because he draws them so mean and
Yeah.
evil. And everyone in
A
this
cat
movie,
scratched him as a kid, and
He
it's
did-
forever
he
imprinted.
did do a short before this about a cat, I think, called Banjo or something like that. Bongo.
Yeah, he tried to pitch it to Disney, and they told him to go kick rocks.
So then he competed with them with
Yep.
every mouse related thing you could think of.
We already got a mouse. His
and
name's
you get a
Mickey.
mouse, and you get a mouse, and you get a mouse.
Yep, yep.
I love. I just saw in my notes the one. So the main characters are not super like creepy or anything.
No.
Just the tone, the whole story,
The whole environment they're in. It's just
Yeah.
like it's
fantasy.
just like Land Before Time, where the world they're in is like everything is like goopy
Dead.
and like
Everything's out
grabbing
to
at
get
them
you.
and
Everything-
they're sinking into the ground.
And there's no color. There's very little color.
very dark, yeah, very like
This
muted
movie-
tones a little bit.
I don't know about. Are you saying this movie is lacking in color too?
No, I think there's.
Land Before Time, sure.
But
This
it
didn't
color.
have that much color. It was really pointy. I thought as we're looking at the video behind
Yeah.
you, the red cape that was on Mrs. Frisbee or Brisby, like kind of like
Mrs. Jonathan Brisby.
latches your line of vision right to her, but everything else around her is kind of
The backgrounds tend to be pretty vivid, though.
yeah.
But
It's great.
yeah,
You know?
visually it's stunning,
Yeah.
and to the point of it being dark, I think it's
What is dark?
Not like literally dark, but like it has a creepiness, uneasiness to the environment.
scary undertones.
Yeah.
Like everything's either like it's kind of at an angle or
Well, you know what I think? It's the story itself. I think the story itself is dark in nature.
well,
And
sure.
he's got a dark.
Well, this is more about Don Bluth in general.
Yeah, he's got a more dark feel to things.
You know why I appreciate that? Because these movies are made for kids first and foremost, and it means he's treating them like they can handle it. He's not treating them with kid gloves.
He's not spoon feeding them,
Yeah.
and that was original
there's
Disney.
real danger.
That's
like
original,
real danger.
That was original Disney. But he
People
took it
die
next
in this
level.
movie.
Yeah, like there's stabbings. Like there's some like
very
vivid blood.
Shakespearean at the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like Hamlet.
Yeah.
you know, it's like the Lion King. You know,
Ratlet.
like, it's like
Ratlet.
yeah. No, and I don't know if that infighting and that stuff was all in.
I don't
the
remember.
book.
I haven't
The
read the
very
book
end?
since
with the whole Jenner and all that stuff. I don't know if it was in the
Yeah.
book, but I think it was interesting.
I read the book in the 6th grade, and which is coincidentally around the same time as the last time I saw this movie.
Wow,
And I don't remember the book very well.
I own it.
I
own it.
I'd never seen it until
What?
this.
It's so good, right?
You never saw it to now?
I had not. I actually owned the DVD.
What a
though.
treat.
I bought it because I heard so much about it. I just had
And
never watched
and you know
it.
what the worst part? The DVD makes it like a bright and fun little. So it's like.
Oh, yeah, no, it's
the
not at
art.
all.
I wonder. They should
To
just probably
me,
use the
it-
original
It
poster
has a
art.
little bit of like a. I mean, we were talking about Rizzo. It has like a Jim Henson kind of
Oh yeah.
like off kilter vibe the whole way through.
But that's fairy tale.
and like dark, like Labyrinth or something.
Yeah.
Like it's very kind of. I mean, it's
very visionary.
it's simultaneously like grounded animals in this world who can talk, and then it goes into like kind of the sci-fi twist. And it's adventure story, and then it becomes at times pure fantasy with magical elements in it.
And then it goes to Dom DeLuise laughing.
I watched the making of that.
The making of Dom
Dom
DeLuise's
DeLuise.
laugh.
So God, look at this. Look at these posters. Why didn't they make this for the DVD? Oh my God.
Hold it up to the screen, please.
This is the okay. So
Sorry, Ben was plugged in. He was charging. Wow, it doesn't show up at all. Never
the
mind.
green screen's not working.
Never mind.
Yeah.
You saw it.
But
What's weird
it
is-
has like a cool
Fairy tale.
fairy tale element to the cover where it's intense. Like that's
Yeah.
something you would read about like in a.
Well, I remember seeing those posters. Like as a little kid, that's what I was drawn to.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever read the Redwall books growing up?
I skimmed like pages of
I
one.
read a handful. I didn't read them all.
What are those?
It's
It's
basically
a lot like this.
It's like Lord of the Rings with animals, like mice and stuff, and they're all each one has
They
a
got swords
and
and
it
stuff.
carries through like a huge series of books and stuff. It reminds me of this a little bit at times.
But this has a cool science fiction twist to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
totally.
that you won't find anywhere else.
No.
So tell people what the twist is,
Right.
Like because it's basically the pivot
National
of the whole
Institute for
movie.
Mental Health.
National
NIMS.
Institute of Mental Health is NIM.
So, but start where what's most of the movie up to that point?
Well, it starts out with this one particular rat who was adopted, and we find out later that Rosebud's really his slave.
It's Slay.
Chipmunk voice. That was so effortless. All right. Sorry.
Can we just cut the show now? Or
All right. There's Mrs. Frisbee, Brisby. I keep getting it. Miss
Well,
Brisby.
It's Frisbee in the book.
Okay.
And, and her son is sick, and she's going to get medicine from this really intelligent mouse who
Mr.
makes
Ages.
Mr. Ages. And they're
Mr. Ages.
they're anticipating needing to move because the ground is thawing, and the farmer. There's this really intense scene with that thresher when it comes through, and then they jump into the gears and stuff and cut the wires.
Oh yeah.
And it's basically this escape tale, and then it leads to the Great Owl, which
You must move your stone.
was intense. The owl was crazy.
Even like the crushing the insect.
Yeah, it
spider.
smashes this huge spider with its
And she
claws.
gains favor of the rats.
I like
when she
how-
goes sees the great owl. So says she can go see him because no one's ever seen the owl and lived to tell about
Not
it.
Not
no
no
one.
way, not no how.
Yeah.
do that too.
Special shout out to giving the great owl a limp.
Yes.
That was cool.
That was great.
It's just so cool. And the voice actor. Mm-hmm. What a voice.
Well, and the animation too. Like his beak had like almost wrinkle lines a little bit, and it kind of like
and starting out with the owl's head's upside down, like because owls do that. But
and
like,
it was hiding in the shadows.
yeah, the
with
whole
all
time
these
you see it,
spider
it's
webs
like
and
so
stuff.
cool because he's neither good nor bad. He's just there.
go away.
He's like Apocalypse of the Secret of NIMH universe.
This actually is a small tangent I would like to explore with you guys. There's something I've noticed about this movie that I really appreciate.
What is it?
It goes back into not treating kids with the kid gloves.
Absolutely.
Have you noticed that so many of the characters in this movie are portrayed as scary and dangerous, but they end up being benevolent? You got the Great Owl, you got Nicodemus. Those are scary guys,
Yeah.
but they're out to they're
And even Mr. H is a little bit
Yeah.
pushy. You
Yeah.
know, everybody's pushy. And like
most of the adults are jerks in this movie.
Anti-Shrewd, but Anti-Shrewd is like
She's got everybody's best interest in
She
mind.
does. She's got it together.
She's like
that payoff. Like I didn't like her as a kid.
Forceful mom kinda character.
But more like such cares and so much like the tough love.
Yeah.
Back to my
help you.
back to my point. All of these people on the good guy's side are scary in some way. The bad guy of this movie is somewhat charismatic, is he not?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what a voice that guy had.
Perhaps subliminally, that the kids can pick up on. Not every scary adult is out to get you.
Just most of them.
Yeah, just most.
No, it's yeah.
It had a little bit of that element of like the Mary Poppins, the suave kind of guy who seems cool.
Jenner, you mean?
Yeah, Jenner that then becomes like the villain.
But clearly the villain.
Yeah, there's no bones about it.
I mean, his eyebrows get off his head. That's some points. But
You could tip him like
But
a
I mean,
hat.
he says, I don't know if you'd see this in 2 minutes. Like he's openly plotting to kill people.
Yeah, he's saying it out
Like,
loud
he
in
wants
the
to
conference
kill
room.
the
Well, they have to-
Nicodemus. He
yeah.
wants to and all because he just wants to keep
even the beginning,
where they are, stay
even
where they are.
Nicodemus is on to him. The beginning of the book, and he's writing Jonathan's notes. It says, "Jenner is." I fear for
Jenner's a jerk.
Jenner, I fear his lust for power is going to be done doing like so.
Jenner really misstepped
So like
with that
little
Pepsi
details
commercial.
like that he had, you know, and like how cool that. Well, anyways, finish the story. And then
Well,
we'll
so
talk more.
ultimately, basically, they're thinking about she's trying to move her house over to the rose bush, which is where they all are. And this is when you start to see
no, she's trying to move
her
it to
house,
the safe side
the
of the
lee
stone.
of the stone.
Sorry, yeah.
The lee of the stone.
The Bruce Lee.
my mistake.
The lee of the stone.
The rock's like,
because the tractor cannot hit the lee of the stone.
Yeah, because that's how they explain it in the book.
You must move your house to the lee of the stone.
Okay, we're at 4 out of 5 expected times for you to do that.
There halfway is.
There it is. That's it.
There you go.
Mrs. Jonathan Brisby.
Pretty good.
She said something in our society that won't.
They go. All right. So she finds because her husband is like notorious.
Halfways.
Husband is notorious for helping people, and then we ultimately find out
He was the guy.
Yeah. She ends up the owl sends her to the rats, and the rats have like a little rat council with like
It's like Caesar.
electricity and stuff all
It's
around
so
them.
cool. What a cool way to
And this,
show that word.
it really escalates
3 feet down the road to push.
and they have that like early they've kind of like MacGyvered all this stuff together, and that's when we find out kind of right now, right? That's when Nicodemus, who's this like wizard old boily rat, tells her all about
He goes
Nim.
like he goes like this. He goes, I don't mean to snap at you.
One day, I looked at the words underneath my cage and understood them.
Goosebumps.
What a great line.
Yeah.
Like, it's so well written. So well written. And it doesn't waste words.
And so
Yeah.
what happened? Basically, it's
They
animal
escaped
testing.
because they got
they were
smarter.
getting tested, and like that visual is like really rough to watch. And
Especially because before they transformed, they were portrayed as realistic
It's
rats.
kind of like, again, our dinosaur episode, the We're Back, where they were like real dinosaurs all of a
Yep.
sudden, not like the cartoons and the.
but they're not as bubbly in this one.
No. But you see them as like the way they animated and portrayed them before they got the injection was they were straight animals.
They were, and
Yeah.
there's a story flaw in this too about this, but it's still pretty interesting. Where they're straight animals, and they developed intelligence,
Yeah.
and then they developed morals through intelligence.
Yeah.
Should we be stealing this electricity?
Yeah.
Because we're reverting back. But the one weird thing which I've always knew, but I forgive it. I don't care. Is how come the other animals can talk and wear clothes?
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
portrayed as not as smart.
The crow,
the crow.
were they testing on?
Even Miss Brisby,
Because it's less interesting when the other animals can't talk.
yeah.
I think they kind of they don't explain it, but the way I would explain it is that Miss Brisby she's like, oh, he taught me a few words. Like,
Yeah.
I think in general, like it was weird. It was a weird juxtaposition
Mm-hmm.
to see them as like just mice. There's no.
They made it okay.
But then
Yeah.
my assumption would be Miss Brisby was exactly like them, just the way they animated it made it look like they
But
had
she wasn't
zero
tested
intelligence. I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like she's exactly like, except she's wearing clothes. I don't know.
it's just cold,
Well,
that's all.
maybe she influenced her. Maybe there's like
Yeah.
because like there's only a few animals
Maybe
that
there's
wear
like
clothes.
the secondhand
Her-
smoke of the NIMH
Her
thing.
and children and Miss Auntie Shrew and the rats. And Auntie Shrew seems like she has some involvement with the rats, so she could possibly, learn from them too. So
Yeah.
maybe like the Jeremy didn't have clothes, the crow or
Right.
the great owl didn't,
Yeah.
any of the rabbits
That
or anything.
spider
yeah.
did. No.
No, that spider had a wife from kids.
Spider's like, you have any idea how hard it is to find pants?
It says on my resume.
For 8
I'm a
legs?
good multitasker.
Don't go up that water
You know the
spout.
last time I went down to
swear.
the shops
It's
and
gonna
found
wash you
an
all
8-leg
out.
pair of pants?
So essentially, though,
spider.
there's like 20 rats that get intelligent and a couple mice, one of which was Jonathan, who helps save
There
everybody.
was more than a couple mice. There was like 10 of them.
But they all
and they all died.
They all
Mr.
died
Ages
except for
and
Ages and
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that visual is,
And that's a
whoa.
cool reveal. Like in the middle of the movie to be like, oh, they were tested.
They
on.
died.
And
Yeah.
all these animals died, and now we're at this point, and it like reframes going forward. And then it basically just becomes the rat inner Game of Thrones politics for a little while.
Which is kind of great. Like this this.
You mean Game of Thrones became Secret of NIMH type politics?
Yes.
Jeez.
My name is Nim, and I have a secret.
But like the last, I say that, but you're right. It does kind of naturally flow all together. Where it's they're trying to move her house with the pulleys, and just it all. Nicodemus gets killed, like kind
Straight
of
up killed.
violently, and then all of a sudden the house starts to sink into the swamp,
It's
and
very
all the
Caesar.
kids are inside, and then there's a
you-
sword fight.
Do you guys remember that clip of that moose getting hit by that truck? It's
yeah.
kind of like that. That's how Nicodemus died.
It's kind of like Caesar, like that whole setup.
Yeah.
And like
Not for Nick- well, I guess
for
kinda.
Nicodemus is kind of Caesar, but there's even a character named Brutus in it. You know,
Yeah.
Big red-
Oh, that's just Brutus.
He's kind of slow.
Yeah, he's a Brutus.
Oh, and at one point Brisby got caught in the cage, which I thought was also
Yeah.
kind of and how she was going to escape and stuff,
Yeah.
and how
they,
she showed her intelligence.
and they made known like here, leave your clothes and stuff here. You know,
Yeah.
because you don't, you just,
You want to tip them off.
very smart.
Except
filmmaking.
and then there was the farmers were like, have you noticed anything weird about the rats?
Well, they talked to me the other day. I didn't think anything of it.
I didn't like that tweet from one.
For one thing, my electricity bill's through the roof.
Who's watching all these Ozarks?
One day I walked in the kitchen, they're making breakfast. They were using the butter for ice skates. And I said, peoples are peoples. Nobody will get that.
I was gonna start to make a Ratatouille joke, but
Don't.
No,
This
I
movie's way better than Ratatouille.
No, I was making a Muppets Take Manhattan reference. When beep-a-doop, bap, you know what I'm talking about? The scene,
I know what you
the scene where the rats.
Yeah,
I forgot about Ratatouille.
the rat.
The rat of Nim.
Okay.
Nim.
Last, we haven't talked really about. We've got a few more minutes. Is there anything we haven't talked about? The Crow, total, really.
There's not much to say. That was for the
Don
kids.
DeLuise,
He's
funny.
pretty good comic relief. I thought the way they did all the strings and stuff was pretty impressive,
was-
actually,
that
from an
goes-
animation standpoint.
That
I'm
goes
allergic to
into what I want to
cats.
say about this movie. It was largely produced in Don Bluth's garage
It was.
with a bunch of equipment that they financed themselves,
And crayons.
and they were doing all these crazy opticals,
They did.
all of this incredible animation in a garage,
Crazy.
which means Disney stinks, at least at the time. I
But
don't know.
also, it was a labor of love. They didn't
Yeah,
really
they
make a
act-
return on it. But they
it was so much work, and they did it so well.
but it's up there. And it's whoever's the background painter.
They,
Oh,
they
yeah.
get they
Oh
get a
my
medal
gosh.
for this one.
Everybody does.
Yeah, everybody down to the voice actors. We were talking about this
and
before the show.
Script and even the audio is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like
the actual soundtrack without the music is incredible.
oh, and the music.
And the music.
Music.
Jerry
is amazing.
Goldsmith.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you can hear some Star Trek in there.
I can hear some of a legend in this one too.
Don Bluth used Jerry Goldsmith and James Horner. He used James Horner for his other movies. He the perfect composers. And it's funny as they both did Star Treks back to back, and Jerry Goldsmith was like on the set of on the recording sessions of the original Star Trek, the motion picture. But or James Horner was to Jerry Goldsmith. But Jerry Goldsmith's such an amazing composer.
Yeah,
He's up there, the top 3 or 4.
He's one of the best at extracting emotion from a scene.
Oh, and he can write some wonderful themes. He did Hoosiers. He did Rudy. He did all the Star Trek theme you hear in the Next Generation. Dun, 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 dun. He did that. He did.
Yep.
He did a lot of. Did he do Goonies?
I don't remember.
He did The Omen. He was going to do Superman, but then John Williams, their schedules changed.
I wonder what he would have come up with.
It would have been good. I think it would have been good. He did Supergirl.
Oh, well,
Where's
that matters.
Well, the music's good. Anyways. Courage of the heart is very.
There we go.
We ready to rate the movie?
Yeah.
No, I want to talk about it some more. Let's not rate it yet.
Okay.
So the interesting thing,
Interesting thing.
little note. So we noted earlier it was called Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim.
Trivia time.
So they recorded everything, and they were using her name as Frisbee
From the book.
from the book. And being like an independent guy, Don Bluth was really worried about the Frisbee company, and he sent them a letter or something like that.
Yeah, he tried to run it by him and see
They ran
what
it by
they
him,
thought.
and they said cease and desist, which they didn't really, I don't think, had a case, but he was so scared anyways.
Yeah, he
So
wanted to keep his nose clean.
But it didn't, because it didn't have anything to do with that. So he went back and redubbed all the voices into Brisbee.
Yeah, there was a lot of a little bit of re-recording and a lot of sampling from other lines to splice over the
in
f.
particular, the Great Owl.
Yeah,
They couldn't get him again. I don't know if he died or couldn't get him again.
might have been both.
Schedules. So they had to find the
Resampling of lines.
And this is all analog. This is not digital.
That
This is
would have
not-
been a lot of work
Oh
now.
my God! And you can't even tell. So that was one.
I was listening for it and I
Jonathan
couldn't hear it.
Brisbee.
No, it's seamless. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's seamless.
Yeah.
To do that on tape takes skill.
Just what a work of art.
Yeah. You can see it. There's so much
Everything.
technically across the board.
Technically written. No, this thing. There's nothing
It's
really
got
wrong with
heart,
this.
soul, and tech.
There's nothing really wrong with this, and it's good source material, and it's something that we never seen before. One thing about
aside
Don
from
Bluth,
talking rats,
well, I'm saying like a story that's not.
the story was very unique.
It came out like a decade before. You know what I mean? So they took that idea, like All Dogs Go to Heaven, all these different things that he created. Like that's only Don Bluth can make. Now it's like it has to be like, oh, let's remake The Lion King again.
Let's do it for the third time. Next year.
Next time they're going to do him stop motion.
No,
They will.
They'll just.
Bobby the
No,
Lion
all they
King.
got to do now is film the stage play and then release it.
Absolutely.
$20 a ticket.
Yeah.
You want to rate the movie now, Matt?
Let's rate the movie. Sure. We're still on target.
Oh yeah.
Stay on target.
Who wants
Well,
to go
actually, we
first?
are over time by 30
I
seconds.
can go first.
You have a
you want.
timer in front of you.
Go, Matt.
Go.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a 7.
A 7.
What? You're a bitch.
Hey,
I mean, you're
do
not.
not contest his rating.
You chose poorly.
Courage of the heart.
The hard Matt is very rare, but if you give it a 6, I'll come over there.
So I'll give it a 7. I don't have a whole lot to complain really about it. I do think there are parts.
Did the magic bother you?
No, I actually loved that part. I love
Yeah.
that aspect. I think the crow, well, I can see why it's there, and it's great in certain parts. It feels a little bit extra, but I don't have a whole lot to
It's
complain about.
extra, but it's nice.
But
Yeah,
he's there to take her to the.
yeah, but
the
that
Great
can
Owl.
be easily.
He
be
serves,
taken
he
out.
serves a purpose at that point. I would have almost liked him to just be at that point, and that's it.
But
he kind of.
But I think if you're making a kids movie, even though this is
Yeah.
not 100%, you got to have a little bit of element of
Oh, yeah.
comic relief. He wasn't wasted
For sure.
and they ended on him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and he finds love, making like sex sounds in the brush.
I'm allergic to. Never mind.
If they had ended that in there, oh my god. Okay, one of the things we haven't talked about, I love that this movie flexes between kids movie and
It does it pretty well.
and kind of having a good adult part of it
Super
too.
dark to super funny, really fast.
And I liked the kind of subtle. Ben was talking about it earlier about what it means for them to be intelligent. I guess that you're not going to steal anything anymore.
Yeah.
Now that kind of like
we know too much.
is like you make. It's making a not really an overt statement. It was like you're more human when you're that kind of make things for yourself. Don't keep stealing or don't keep
Right.
pillaging and stuff.
to make one's own way.
And I thought that was kind of a really cool like series of lines to add into the movie that they felt like obligated to be self-sufficient, which I thought was kind of cool. So yeah, I really like that part of it.
on welfare.
No.
So yeah, 7 out of 10 for me.
Ben? Should I go first?
No. 10.
10.
It's perfect. It's a perfect movie.
It's everything it needs to be.
It's everything it needs to be. And I'll tell you why. It's a 10. We already discussed the beautiful animation.
Mm-hmm.
The writing is really good.
The voice acting.
The voice acting is really good. The score, the character, and the everything. But what they did is the attention to detail is probably the most important thing. From down to the, like, let's take the new Star Wars movie for an instance.
Okay.
So everybody's complaining, rightfully so, that and even like the new Captain Marvel movie, like these female characters that they create, you know what I mean, or just characters in general, just going, I already know what I need. I can beat up everything. They're not scared.
There's no stakes.
She is so scared. This world is so scared, scary, and she's very meek. You know what I mean? But courage of the heart is very rare. She's so brave. She faces it anyways because she has to say.
Presses on.
Even like throughout, like little bits, she has to go and stop the.
My God, character growth.
And there's not a lot of mothers portrayed like
Certainly not.
as a hero, and like
Especially
she's the
at this
bravest of
time.
them all. She's the bravest of them all because like she's not strong. She's not Mary Sue, whatever they want to call it. She like it's just and it's beautiful in the end, and she's like with the
magic.
and stuff.
the magic.
I mean, it's goosebumpy. Just the whole thing. So they created the protagonist to have such an arc, and also just like such like, and she wasn't funny. She's very timid. And even the design very timid. It's like everything's real. Even the back and forth dialogue, like Mr. Ages. When she's talking to Mr. Ages at the beginning, he's very, ornery to her, and everybody's real short, but she's real gracious, and she understands, and just like the seriousness of like, oh God, oh dear heavens, like all the things that they say at the very beginning.
Little lines. Yeah.
Oh my God, I think this has amazing dialogue. Amazing dialogue.
Agree.
Amazing. This is a perfect movie. This is a perfect movie. And I love it.
I have a follow-up question, but Aaron, go.
I'm going to be as hard on this as I can. If I was to be a Debbie Downer on this movie, I'd have to give it an 8. That's as low as a rating I can give it. It's incredible.
That's like one of your highest ever.
Well, yeah, it's...
That may be your highest you've given on the show.
It's not my highest. It may be
on the show.
Tied for highest.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably have not given too many 9s.
So
it's a very important movie in terms of just as a movie and for the making of the movie in all aspects.
If you had to...
you know what you loved the most about it? There was like one song, and no one broke out into song. It was a background song.
You know, I actually actively noticed that.
I was looking for it.
Stopping the movie to sing. You can't just have your characters announce how they feel. That makes me angry. That's a Futurama joke.
A great
joke. That makes me angry.
If you had... So, last question. Maybe you could rank the other ones, but would you put Land Before Time beneath this one?
Yes.
To me, I actually like Land Before Time a little bit better.
Yes, but Land
for
Before Time's
all
up
the
there.
same reason you're saying for this one, actually.
Yes, because
they're both good.
They're both great.
Excellent. Yeah.
And An American Tail is good, but I actually like 50 Goes West more, even though he didn't even nothing to do with that.
That was not.
That was early
Bluth.
DreamWorks.
Yeah.
All Dogs Go to Heaven is interesting, but it's not like you don't get it.
It's kind of throwaway.
It's just an interesting concept.
Yeah. That's about it.
Then there was Troll in Central Park.
We don't talk about
Speaking
that
of Don DeLuise. Then there's Thumbelina.
we don't talk about
There's
that.
Anastasia.
Well, that was
remember
pretty
An-
okay.
I remember
Anastasia was
Anastasia.
pretty okay.
Well,
Remember
it was okay.
Titan AE?
That was okay.
I have that
haven't seen
DVD
that one.
on my shelf. I like that movie.
It's okay.
It
was
kind
like
of
the last
falls
thing he
apart in
did.
Act 3, but it's pretty good.
Came out like 1999.
Yeah, I remember seeing a trailer for that movie.
I saw it in theaters.
You did?
Oh, no, not Titan AE, sorry.
I was
thinking about Anastasia still.
That movie, interesting point. That movie is like the first time I noticed how long it takes to make movies. Because I saw the trailer in like 98. And it said coming spring or summer 99. It's like, that's over a year away. Why are they making us wait that long? That's a long way to go.
I'll be 10 by then.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I'll be in the,
For your information,
not
I
be
would have
into it
been
anymore.
11.
be in the double digits.
Oh no! Should I go see it?
Yeah, kid, go see it.
It's pretty good.
I'm just two years away from PG-13, all by myself. It's like, can they really card a kid coming up to a PG-13 movie? Like
You slide your $10
you're like,
across.
Are you 13? Like he gets out his driver's license, his ID.
My 13-year-old driver's license.
That's the point. You can't really card. That's the whole point.
Oh, did I ruin your joke?
No, you didn't. Like it's like how are you gonna card a kid who, if he's 13? Are you 13? Yeah. Okay. Like that.
Yeah, sure. Where's your birth certificate?
Are you squatting down? Are you on blocks?
Are you two kids in a trench coat?
Did you see that? Someone did that.
Oh, really?
actually.
That's funny.
Dude, what was it they wanted to watch? Anyway, this was recently. Anyway, so
What are we doing next
Are
week?
you wearing lifts?
I think we have to
I
do
think we
it.
should announce this in the Hall of Fame.
I would
This?
vote for it.
Yeah. Yes.
I would
Yes.
too. Even
Yeah.
at a 7, I definitely would.
Yes.
Because if it kicks off everything.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so important. Okay, that's unanimous. Hall of Fame.
Wow, I'm glad you brought that up. We haven't
Yeah.
done one of those in a while.
I don't have
Yeah.
a music cue, so I will.
Ben, just start singing.
Hall of Fame. Oh, he remembered the graphic.
Yeah.
Nice.
And our new audience members, all one of you, are
You'll have to watch our older shows to get that joke.
like and subscribe.
So next week, are we gonna do it?
Are we gonna do what?
You can do it.
The Lion King?
Sure, if you want to.
I think it's good for us. We usually have fun with movies we don't like.
How
So
do you know you haven't seen it yet?
I
We
know.
might like it.
That's true. We may like it. We might.
He shot a knowing glance.
Aaron, can you give me the reverb?
Okay.
Remember who you are.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. It's on me right now.
You ruin everything.
Down here? I'm in the well.
Remember who you are. Everything the light touches is my kingdom. We have the meat.
This is CNN.
You know what?
Yes, good.
You know what? That's what they should have
Compound.
done. F. James Earl Jones and just get the Arby's guy from Mission Impossible.
Arby's guy. We're not going to give him his
Is that his official credit or okay?
Arby's guy.
Okay.
They have the meats.
Arby's M guy.
All right.
All right. Until next week.
What? Wait. What are we?
Bye.
Are we doing Lion King next week?
Yes,
Are
we're
we
doing
locking
Lion
this
King.
in?
Locked in.
Da, 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 da,
All right,
Secret
fine.
of the NIMH.